Sir, this a lot of cash. I need to know where it came from. It doesn't look like.
These funds are mine. They proceed from a private equity transaction. Partial sale of a business stake I held. All documented.
Hands on the counter, please. My hands haven't moved. Keep them there, don't reach right.
Security camera footage from inside a Horizon Trust Bank branch captures the exact moment a routine banking transaction turns into a confrontation. What begins as a standard deposit escalates rapidly after a teller refuses service to a black customer, signals for security, and reframes the situation as a potential threat, without citing any clear policy violation. What no one inside the branch realizes at this moment is that the man being stopped holds significant influence within the institution itself, a fact that will soon force the bank to confront its own actions. Before we continue, comment below with where you're watching from, and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you won't want to miss. Melissa Grant is working behind teller window 3 when the interaction begins. She is 34 years old and has been employed at Horizon Trust Bank for 9 years. Among staff, she is known for being extremely rigid about rules, often enforcing them more aggressively than policy requires. Her personnel file contains multiple customer complaints alleging discriminatory treatment. All of them involve black customers. Over the years, every complaint was closed without formal discipline, each one categorized as a misunderstanding or a communication issue. Melissa notices the customer before he even reaches the counter. The man is Langston K. Amy, 51 years old, a private equity investor with substantial holdings in logistics, infrastructure, and commercial real estate. He maintains a low public profile and handles most financial matters quietly. He carries himself with calm confidence, the kind that comes from long familiarity with financial institutions. He approaches teller window 3 and places a sealed envelope on the counter. Melissa's posture changes immediately. She does not greet him. She does not ask how she can help. She does not reach for a deposit slip. ID, she says. Langston slides his identification across the counter. Melissa studies it, then looks at the envelope. How much cash is in there? 200,000, Langston replies evenly. Melissa pauses. Her chair shifts as she leans back. And where did that money come from? From a completed business transaction, Langston says. I have documentation if you need it. Melissa does not ask to see the documents. That's a very large amount of cash. We don't usually process deposits like this. Langston keeps his hands resting flat on the counter. Which policy prevents you from accepting it? He asks. I need approval, she replies. I can't process this right now. She does not stand. She does not call a manager. Instead, she glances toward the security desk. Within seconds, Anthony Russo, a contracted security guard in his mid-40s, approaches. He positions himself directly behind Langston, close enough to be felt. He does not ask what's happening. His attention is fixed solely on Langston. There's a situation here, Melissa says. He's trying to deposit a suspicious amount of cash. Langston turns slightly. I'm making a deposit. That's all. Anthony steps closer. Sir, keep your hands where I can see them. Langston looks down at his hands, still resting on the counter. They haven't moved. Nearby, other customers continue their transactions. At the next window, a white customer completes a cash withdrawal and leaves without a single question. Langston looks back at Melissa. Can you tell me which policy applies here? I can't proceed, she says. You'll need to step aside while this is reviewed. I'm in the middle of a transaction, Langston replies. I'd like to speak with the branch manager. Melissa presses the call button beneath the counter and flips Langston's ID face down. We're not accepting this deposit today. Anthony remains positioned behind Langston, partially blocking the lobby. You need to cooperate, he says. I am cooperating, Langston replies. I'm waiting for the manager. Customers begin to notice. Conversation slow. Phones come out. No one intervenes. Moments later, Robert Hale, the branch manager, walks toward the teller line, unaware that the decisions already made at window 3 have set off consequences far beyond this branch. Robert Hale stops beside Melissa's station. What's going on? He asks. He's trying to deposit $200,000. Melissa says quickly. I told him I couldn't process it without approval. Robert nods, then turns to Langston. Sir, I'm the branch manager. There seems to be an issue with your transaction. I'm depositing cash into my account, Langston replies. I was told there's a policy issue, but no one has identified which policy. Robert glances at the envelope, then at the security guard standing too close. That's a significant amount of cash. We have to be careful. Careful how? Langston asks. With large deposits, there are regulations. We need to verify sources. I offer documentation, Langston says. It wasn't reviewed. Robert looks at Melissa. Did he provide anything? He said he had paperwork, she replies, but the situation fell off. Robert turns back to Langston. Where did the cash come from? A private equity sale, Langston answers. Robert hesitates. We'll need to review that before accepting this. That's fine, Langston says. Who's reviewing it? Compliance, Robert says. Have they been contacted? Not yet. Then please call them. Robert asks Langston to step aside. Langston refuses, calmly, asking again for the policy being applied. The situation escalates further until Robert finally calls compliance. Minutes later, after running Langston's account and shareholder records, Robert's demeanor changes completely. He orders Melissa to step away from the terminal. He instructs security to step back. He makes another phone call, this one to legal. Then he returns to the counter. Mr. Amy, he says carefully, there appears to have been an error. You are listed as a majority shareholder in Horizon Trust Bank. Silence fills the lobby. Melissa freezes. The security guard steps back. Customers lower their phones. We'll process your deposit immediately, Robert says. Langston shakes his head. Not here. Within hours, corporate compliance arrives. Footage is reviewed. Records are pulled. Prior complaints are re-examined. By the end of the day, Melissa Grant is placed on administrative leave. The security firm's contract is terminated. Robert Hale is suspended pending investigation. Racist bank teller accuses black man of theft. Minutes later, she learns he owns 70% of the bank. 3 days later, Langston deposits the same $200,000 at another branch. The transaction takes less than 5 minutes. No questions. No security. No confrontation. For Melissa, teller window 3 ends her career. For Robert, it ends his authority. For the security firm, it ends their contract. For Langston Amy, it confirms what he already knew. He never needed to raise his voice. He never needed to explain who he was. The system revealed itself the moment it decided he didn't belong. This is Voices Unchained. If this story made you uncomfortable, share it with someone who needs to see it. Subscribe for more stories that expose power, accountability, and truth.